everybody. So most of y'all, or not most, but a large portion of y'all are taking your AP Calc exam right now, which is why I wanted to go ahead and make this lesson asynchronous. So just go ahead and watch this video. As you're watching the video, you can either open up that economic principles assignment and do that while you're watching this video, or you can wait until after the video because some of the answers will be given away as I go through this PowerPoint. Now I promise I'm gonna try to make it quick so that you guys are able to use whatever time you have left to, I don't know, be some seniors. All right, so there was a OneNote. We're not doing that. So let's just act like y'all didn't see that OneNote little thing. But just a reminder, I told most of y'all today, well, yesterday I should say, but today is when I seen y'all. But our last assignment will be the week 5 through 6 exit tickets, and that unit 3 exam can be used as a reassessment grade. Meaning, after I put in those week 5 through 6 exit tickets, if you are fine with whatever grade you have, if you have an 85%, a 95, whatever, if you're comfortable with that grade, you don't have to do the unit 3 exam. However, if you are uncomfortable with your grade, you can take the unit 3 exam as a reassessment to replace the unit 2 exam. Now, the Unit 2 exam scores aren't ready yet. Y'all know how the district is. It probably won't be ready until Friday, to be honest. But after I put in that Unit 2 exam grade and your week 5 through 6 exit tickets, that's pretty much it. So think of the Unit 3 exam as optional, only for those who are like, I'm not really happy with my Unit 2 exam, so let me try to see if my Unit 3 exam will be better. And even if you do take the Unit 3 exam and you actually end up scoring worse on the Unit 3 exam, it doesn't have to be used as a grade, so I can just ignore that. So FYI, you guys are almost done. So today we're going to be talking about scarcity, trade-offs, and opportunity costs. I promise that today's lesson, and really Unit 3, is much simpler than Unit 2. Unit 2 was probably the hardest part of econ, those supply and demand shifts. But all right. So again, if you like, you can open up that economic principles assignment in Schoology, or you can wait until the end of this video. It'd definitely be helpful to just open it up now because I'm about to give away some of those definitions right now. But all right, so there are a few definitions I want us to learn about within this lesson. The first 4 is scarcity, trade-offs, opportunity costs, and factors of production. Most of these are very simple and easy to understand. Scarcity is just a situation in which unlimited wants exceed the limited resources available to fulfill those wants. It's like when everybody is wanting a COVID vaccine, but not enough vaccines are available, so the resources are scarce. Trade-offs are the sacrifice of some or all of one economic goal, good, or service to achieve some other goal, good, or service, right? So like, what are the trade-offs? And that kind of connects to what opportunity cost means, which is the most desirable alternative given up as the result of a decision. And I promise I'm gonna go in depth with these in a bit. Factors of production are land, labor, and capital. They're the 3 groups of resources that are used to make up all goods and services. Entrepreneurship is also another factors of production, but really land, labor, and capital are the biggest ones, but still entrepreneurship is a big deal. So I have an image of factors of production here. And again, I promise I'm gonna go in depth with these. There was entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is the process of starting, organizing, managing, and assuming the responsibility for a business. So you deciding to open your own vegan smoothie factory and whatnot, that's an entrepreneurial move. Maybe you want to help serve those suffering from COVID in India because India has really been hit with COVID recently. And you want to develop some type of business out there to provide vaccines to those who are struggling with COVID. That's entrepreneurship. A good and service, y'all know this. A good is just a physical item that is produced and can be weighed or measured, right? Something physical. Whereas a service is any activity that fulfills a human want or need and returns money to those who provide it. Lastly, a resource, y'all know this as well, is a substance in the environment that is useful to people, is economically and technologically feasible to access, and is socially acceptable to use. So again, these are the definitions. In that activity, you should be able to match all of the definitions with their terms. If you need to pause the video to get those answers, definitely do so. But I'm gonna move forward. So again, I'm gonna dive deeper into some of these definitions right now. So scarcity, again, is when like individuals and groups have unlimited wants and needs, but decisions are made knowing that there are only a limited amount of resources available, right? Like, again, with COVID, with these vaccines and whatnot, like a lot of communities, especially at the beginning of when we started like receiving vaccines and whatnot, a lot of communities lacked access to vaccines, and that's still very prevalent today, specifically within Black and brown communities. So again, like resources are scarce, and the government, various institutions have to figure out like how to provide these resources when they're scarce. How are scarcity issues addressed? Remember last quarter in special topics, we talked about that rationing system, right? And also the downfall of rations, where during World War II, there was a ration on wool, but that actually led to increased racism against zoot suit wearers who were predominantly Mexican Americans, created the zoot suit riots, all of that. But I mean, rationing systems can be a way to address scarcity, but then like there are also other factors to rationing, especially in terms of like if people aren't following those rationing rules and still buying these goods illegally, then it can create a ton of problems. Another way to address scarcity is just to collaborate with other suppliers. Like maybe wool is scarce, but we can collaborate with other suppliers of cotton and other products. And then also just educating consumers on the issue. Like there's a huge sage shortage in the United States. And some of y'all might know that sage is used by a lot of like native and indigenous tribes for like spiritual practices. So what people will do, especially in today's society, is kind of advocate for those communities, saying, hey, y'all, maybe y'all should stop buying and burning sage so that we can ensure that one, sage is protected, and two, that natives can actually use them for spiritual traditions. And not even just natives, but it's also like a spiritual practice of a lot of Black folks as well, like stemming back to well before the transatlantic slave trade and whatnot. So really, it's a spiritual practice for both indigenous Americans and indigenous Africans. Whew, almost done, y'all. I'm trying to make this quick, okay? Look. Okay, trade-offs. So that's when everything given up when having to make a decision due to scarcity. So like, what do we have to give up when we want to deal with these issues due to scarcity? So an example we have here is like, should schools test students and staff for COVID-19? Like, what are the trade-off costs of that? What does that look like? How might that impact everybody? Like, is it necessary to test folks? Like, how expensive might that be? You got to talk about the opportunity cost as well with that. Examples of trade-offs could be like buying a generic brand versus the original brand. Like, okay, I really like Coca-Cola, but this generic brand is cheaper, but Coke just tastes a little bit better. It just hits different. Or maybe buying a new car versus buying a used car. Like, buying a new car would be more ideal. I'll be the first person driving it. I don't got to worry about anybody's negative energy being within that car. But it's also more expensive than buying a used car. But then again, someone else used that used car. And what if there are other issues within that car because of that other person's, behaviors within the car? Or like one that you guys might be familiar of, like, do I want to go to a community college to a 4-year or just go straight to a 4-year? Or when I graduate high school, do I want to take that gap year and then go to college, or do I want to go from high school straight to college? Like, thinking about these trade-off costs and what that looks like. And whenever we talk about trade-offs, we have to talk about opportunity costs. So that's the value of the first top option not chosen when making a decision. And here I have this example, this image of opportunity costs, right? The benefit you miss when you make a choice. So an example of that is like, how do you want to spend your $100? You could spend it on these fire sneakers, y'all. These Nikes that just came out. Oh my God, produced by slave labor. But we can talk about that another day. But you want to buy these Nikes for $100? Or you can invest that $100 at 5%. So if you buy the shoes, the opportunity cost is $5, right? You can invest that 5% either or. So thinking about like, okay, what's the benefit of like doing that? Like, what would I have lost if I bought these shoes versus investing that money and whatnot? So just thinking about those opportunity costs. You guys are going to watch a video on opportunity costs in a bit too, so I'm not going to go super in depth because I think that video does an awesome job of talking about and bringing up a scenario of opportunity costs. But lastly, the last thing I want us to learn and talk about are factors of production. So land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Land is not only just the physical land, but also like resources like oil, plants, whatever tangible goods you need to produce that product. Labor is obviously the people working to produce these goods. Capital, right, is like money, the dollars, also resources. And then entrepreneurship is like the individual, right? Like Henry Ford, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, I don't know, people like that are literally developing these businesses, the entrepreneurs, even like farmers who own farmland, like those are entrepreneurs. You going to India and setting up shop and like administering COVID vaccines with like money you raised in the United States, like that's an entrepreneurial move. So there we go. Factors of production. We need 4 of them. You need land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship to produce goods. You need it. It's necessary. Alrighty, y'all, but that's pretty much it. If y'all have questions in regards to this lesson, send me a little message. I got you. I know a lot of y'all are taking your AP Calc exam right now, so if you have a question and you're on campus, you can just find me. I'll answer it for you. But yeah, so make sure to watch the 2 videos I have posted on trade-offs and opportunity costs and complete the exit ticket. And once you do that, you are good to go. So I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye, y'all.